Oops. What's up guys, Mike Thomas, aka the Young Trishula here. Today, I want to talk about Spright, which is evidently not the tier 0 deck that people thought it might be, as I was able to win the St. Louis Regionals this past weekend with Dragon Link. Originally, I wasn't really planning on going to this regional. In fact, I didn't decide to go until after midnight the day of, and when I got there, I found out that the event was initially pre-reg only, with a hard cap at 150 players. But I managed to sneak in on the waitlist and finish 7-0-1 after Swiss, so technically undefeated. Huge shoutouts to my teammates on both Prestige and Playmakers, to my car for this event as well, and a special shout out to my teammate Darren Dial, who built this list with me, and to Josh Kippenberg, who also topped with Dragon Link at the Columbus Regional this past weekend. As always, be sure to like and subscribe if you do enjoy this kind of content. It really helps me out a lot and lets me know to keep making more of it. Also, if you're looking to get better at the game and want to support me personally, I do offer coaching sessions through Metafy. I love helping people get better at the game, and I know from personal experience that sometimes the best way to do so is through a one-on-one approach. I recently found out that I am within the top 20% of coaches on their platform, so definitely check me out on there if you think that is something you might be interested in. Anyway, without wasting any more of your time, let's hop into it. Okay, so hopping into the deck profile, we played 2 Tracer, 1 Recharger, 1 Synchron, 1 Absol. This is a pretty standard rocket package for Dragon Link. It is actually the one place that me and Darren disagreed when building the deck. Darren has actually been testing the deck with only 1 Tracer, but I thought that the second copy came up a little bit too often for us to just cut it, so I kept the second Tracer in, and it did come up for me several times throughout the day. So very glad that I did have the second Tracer. As for the adventure package, I played the 3 Water Enchantress and 1 Griffin Rider. These I feel that are still pretty much mandatory in Dragon Link because they enable the Rose Dragon package, which is very powerful. If you don't know, it sets up the Baron de Fleur negate as well as something Shooting Riser, and Shooting Riser allows you to send Fairy Tale Snow from your deck to the graveyard. Fairy Tale Snow is one of the big reasons that I think Dragon Link is still competitively viable this format. Fairy Tale Snow is just so powerful into so many decks, especially the decks from Power of the Elements. They can't really deal with Fairy Tale Snow all that well, especially Spright. I had multiple Spright opponents who, when I Fairy Tale Snow booked their normal summon, they just conceded. And so it on its own is really powerful, and giving you disruption through board breakers such as Dark Ruler No More is really important in a format where those cards are seeing a lot of play. And then for the last engine that I played in the main deck, I did finally include the Punk cards into my Dragon Link strategy. I played the 1 Xiamen, 1 Foxy, and 1 Deer Note. They performed pretty well for me. I only drew Deer Note 1 time. I never really drew Foxy Tune, and Xiamen I only opened when I didn't have access to my Adventure engine. So this package was really good for me. I'm still not sure how I feel about it overall, but it did perform very well for me, and I'm happy that I played them in the deck. So not bad if you're looking to try them. For the extenders, we played the White and Black Dragon plus Destrudo. Destrudo I don't think that you can cut from Dragon Link because it opens up so many lines of play that are not possible without it. It's a very strong card in the deck. Very glad that I played it. It came up for me several times. Funnily enough, it even allowed me to go for lethal by summoning it back and getting the extra little bit of damage that I needed. So really nice card, really good to have in the deck. Now for the spells, we played 3 Red of Armiser, 1 Fateful, and Draco back, obviously for the adventure package. Included with that is the 1 Foolish Burial. If you haven't seen my other videos talking about Dragon Link, I usually include Foolish Burial as part of the adventure package itself, because unless I already have Water Enchantress, I'm sending Water Enchantress with this card. Foolish Burial is really strong for that reason, but you do have a lot of other good targets to send in the deck with Foolish Burial. So for that reason, I don't think Foolish Burial is actually cuttable in Dragon Link, even though I've seen some lists not play it. But you do have Absol, you have Destrudo, and you have Fairy Tale Snow, which you can all send to the graveyard with this Foolish Burial if you draw it. So it gives you a lot of options, which is just really nice. But just to reiterate, it is primarily there as the 4th copy of Water Enchantress. Then I played 3 Quick Launch, 3 Chaos Space, and 3 E-Telly as our extenders slash starters. Pretty standard lineup, and then the 2 field spells that you have to play. Then for the defensive cards, I played 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Gamma, 1 Driver, 3 Nibiru, and 2 DD Crow. So to briefly explain on these hand traps here are more or less just generically powerful hand traps. Ash obviously is the most generic hand trap in the game, with Veiler being similarly generic and just comboing well with other hand traps in the deck. Gamma, however, is always good in Dragon Link, but now it gets a lot better against decks like Spright, for example, because if they start their turn by normal summoning Swap Frog or normal summoning Diva, not only do you get to negate them, but you also remove them from the field, and unless they have exactly starter in their hand, they're not really going to have a way to put another body on field to continue playing the game, so Gamma just can auto win you that matchup. As for Nibiru and DD Crow, these were more targeted hand traps. I know a lot of people are cutting Nibiru right now because of how much Spright there is, and I didn't really feel like that was correct because I feel like this deck has a good Spright matchup as it is. So I didn't feel like I needed to over-respect Spright to such an extent that I would cut Nibiru, which is really powerful in other really bad matchups, such as other combo decks and Terralement. Terralement doesn't actually have a great way to play through Nibiru a lot of the time. And then similarly for DD Crow, I wanted to play DD Crow for Terralement, since on paper that's a bad matchup. DD Crow didn't really come up for me all that much. I didn't draw it in the matchup that it was there for, so can't really say how good it was, but on paper it's really nice, especially if on turn 0 they hit a Shadal card with the hand trap Terralement. So being able to counter them there is really nice, really important. But on paper it was good. Maybe it would have been better off as a Ghost Ogre, but you know, that requires further testing. Then for the extra deck, we played 1 Striker Dragon, 1 Pisty, 1 Romulus, 1 Halki Fibrax, 1 Dark Charmer, 1 IP Masquerena, and 1 Hieratic Seals. Link 3s, we played Unicorn and Triple Burst Dragon, and then to round out the Link monsters, we played Access Code Talker and Borrowlands. Then for the Synchros, we played the Chaotic Magical, Shooting Riser, Borreload, and Baron de Fleur. So to briefly talk about the extra deck, most of it was very standard, with the one real flex spot being the Hieratic Seals. The thing with Hieratic Seal is that this card is actually really good right now because of how strong Fairy Tail Snow is. So if you get Dark Ruler, you can use the Seal to tribute off Fairy Tail Snow and to give yourself 2 disruptions through a Dark Ruler, which is really nice. And it also has the added benefit of helping you not lose to Super Poly. With the new Super Poly target Garura, it's actually not very good for you to end on a board of Borland plus Borreload anymore. So now that Borreload is not as good of an end board, I was looking for ways to make our end board a little bit safer into stuff like Super Poly. So the end board that I actually went for most of the tournament was Seals plus IP and either a Borreload or a Baron with the Snow in the graveyard. And what was nice about this is that it gave you the ability to have a negate as well as what is effectively 5 monster disruptions, because you have your Snow coming back to Book of Moon, the first monster that they summon. You can then IP plus the Snow to Unicorn the next monster they summon to get rid of the second monster. You can then Snow book the 3rd monster they summon, and then if they summon a 4th monster, you can Seals tribute the Snow to bounce that 4th monster to their hand, and if they for some reason have a 5th monster, you can then use Snow to come back and Book of Moon the 5th monster on the field, giving you the ability to prevent your opponent more or less from ever summoning a monster, which is really, really powerful off of just these 3 cards. The fact that at least 2 of these Snow books are guaranteed through something like Dark Ruler is really, really nice in this format. It's very, very powerful. So moving on to the side deck. So in the side, I played 3 Droplet, 3 Dark Ruler, 2 Lightning Storm, Red Reboot, 3 Infinite Impermanence, and 3 Appointer of the Red Lotus. for the most part, the side deck was okay. The card that put in the most work for me was probably Forbidden Droplets. I only drew Dark Ruler once, and my hand wasn't good enough to beat Smasher's 2 hand traps, so Dark Ruler didn't really do a lot for me there. Lightning Storm and Red Reboot kept getting negated by Judgments. Imperm, I didn't really play matchups where Imperm was super great. I didn't feel like it was super useful siding into Spright just because we were already siding in 6 board breakers in that matchup. So this didn't get to come in nearly as much as I think it could have, just with how the siding pattern worked out and how my matchups were. And then for the last card on the side, the Appointer, were really strong because people are playing a lot of board breakers in this format, but not all of those board breakers are spell cards, so it's a little bit better than anti-spell. I was Lava Golemed I think 2 or 3 times throughout the tournament, and I was sphere moded at least once. So a pointer was there for those cards. Unfortunately, I didn't draw a pointer in those games, but a pointer is just very powerful. It also giving you full information on your opponent's hand is really nice, allowing you to play around it perfectly. It's very appreciated, and that alone can win you games, even if your opponent doesn't have a board breaker for you to take. So that about wraps up the deck list. That was the list I decided to play this weekend, and I'm very happy with how it performed. Pretty, nothing too innovative in terms of what's going on with it, but still just wanted to put it out there to prove that Dragon Link is still a really powerful deck that can compete with even the new powerful decks like Spright and Tournament from the new format. Hopefully you guys might have learned something from this, or are excited to use this or a similar Dragon Link list at future events that you might be playing in. But yeah, Dragon Link just, Dragon Link is just a deck that doesn't die, and I'm very glad that I was able to play it for another event and do well with it. But that's about all I have for you guys today, so please remember to like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. It does really help me out a lot. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today, so hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video.